so sorry.
Excuse me? That's
Green Lantern's better anyways. I'm disappointed.
So as you can see,
Ow.
we're talking about the newest Spider-Man movie.
Far From Home.
Tom Holland
The best Spider-Man.
and whatever the one guy's name is.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I can never pronounce it. I always want to say Galal.
Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man. This is the best Spider-Man
False.
movie I've ever seen in my life.
No.
Lies.
This is the best.
Tobey Maguire.
No, even according to Stan Lee, Tom
Stan
Holland
Lee's
is.
dead.
Yeah, but
What? You shut your mouth.
You were so
Spider-Man
mean.
is his baby. Therefore, Tom Holland is his child.
You know, he said that about like every Spider-Man, right?
No, he didn't.
No.
Prove
Tobey
me
Maguire's
wrong.
still the best, doesn't matter whatever.
You're such a hater.
Such
I
a hater.
hate it.
Anyway.
Back to the actual story.
I love when Brian just goes back at the camera fast.
Alright, so actual story. Everybody's back from what they call the blip now instead of the snap. And
They called it the blip.
yeah.
The blip?
They called it the blip.
You know,
was-
see Spider-Man Far From Home?
I did. I saw
Oh
that.
yeah,
sitting
yeah,
next
that's
to each
right,
other.
that's right.
I was gonna say, why are you in this video? No, what? Yeah, it's the blip.
I don't remember them saying that.
Yeah,
In the school, they really.
Did they call it that in the kids' PowerPoint at the
Yeah.
beginning?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my god.
And they go on this European vacation, so it's like National Lampoon, except they don't do all the funny things.
It's a
The
field
school
trip.
field trip for science.
It's
That's
a-
field trip my ass.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But,
the teachers were such airheads.
They were a specialized school.
That was what JB Smoove and who was the guy that played the other teacher? I can't remember. It was JB Smoove and another guy that is
Was
really
it Hannibal
funny.
Buress? No.
No, he dropped his camera in the lake. And it was really funny.
That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways, they are in Europe, and all of a sudden, these big monsters. It was Hydro. It was the elemental. It was the water elemental, which everybody thought was Hydro Man at the beginning, but it
That's what I
wasn't.
thought it was. Sandman.
Comes out of nowhere. There was Sandman at the beginning. You didn't see anything with him though. And then you see Mysterio, who was played by Jake Gyllenhaal, come in and save the day
Take a little
with his powers. And Spider-Man is, I want to just have a good vacation. I've been doing everything since, spoiler alert, Iron Man died. Which, by the way, he's all over this movie.
He is.
Yeah.
Stark is everywhere on this
He's
movie.
in this movie, but not in this movie.
Like, for Robert Downey Jr. not being in this movie, he's getting a lot of royalties because they use his likeness everywhere in this movie. Same with Chris Evans. Same with Thor. They're doing a lot of stuff where they're saying like, oh yeah, these guys are done, but we're not getting away from that yet.
Yeah.
And they have to fight to save the world from what would be called Molten Man, but it's basically the lava elemental. They do this fight. Jake Gyllenhaal beats him, of course, because he does the sacrifice, and then you find out that it's all fake.
That threw me for a loop. I know those who had read the comic books, friends of mine who had read the comic books, were like, yeah, knew it. I'm like, I was so confused.
I called it. I
I
friggin'
was
called
so
it.
confused.
Yeah.
By the way, before we go any further, spoiler alert, because I didn't say that before.
Yeah.
So that's spoiler alert.
And not only that, the way how it's all fake ties also again in with Stark.
Yep, everything has to do with Stark. And they bring back the laboratory guy from the very first movie when
Obadiah Stane.
Obadiah Stane. Is that Jeremy Irons? Is that who that is?
No, that's
Who is that?
It's the dude.
Big Lebowski.
I'll think of it.
He was yelling at the one scientist for not being able to make the arc reactor smaller for him to use. And so He's in this movie.
Ralphie from Christmas Story's in there.
Yeah.
That is Ralphie from Christmas Story,
Yeah.
the scientist. I never knew that was Ralphie. I never knew
blue
that. That's
eyes.
crazy. And the funny thing is, the funny story really quickly, I went and saw it with my mom for her
Jeff
birthday.
Bridges.
That's his name. Jeremy Irons was Scar from Lion King.
And he was Alfred.
And Alfred, and a bunch of other things.
Long list of titles.
But I was watching it with my mom for her birthday, and she goes, "Is that Ralphie from the Christmas Story?" I'm like, "There's no way that's Ralphie from
But
Christmas
it
Story."
is.
And then I see his eyes, look, that's Ralphie. And
It's your dry out kid.
so he's the master of illusions, as everybody
You kinda
called
look
from
like
the.
him with your mustache.
Wow. Wow.
He's the master of illusions, and he proves it by using Stark's technology to basically try to become the newest superhero. And he keeps saying we need Avengers level threats, and I'm happy that they're saying that now. That it's not just catastrophic events; there's like Avengers level threats. Because what's his name? Vulture from the last movie is not a Avengers level threat. He's a regular villain.
He's a birdie.
And then
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
and
I just have to do that with my arms. They're gonna go.
the rest of the movie's fantastic. They do some cool visual effects. It's almost on par with what they did in Doctor Strange. And
It is way better than that 2-minute fight sequence that you get in the Spider-Man 2 video game.
yes, well, that's not even 2 minutes. That's like 1 second when he punches him and his helmet just flies off.
Oh.
How low the mighty have fallen.
You dare to challenge the infinite light of Mysterio? I will destroy you utterly. You will bear witness to the majesty and glory of my power. Prepare to die. You have trifled with my power for the last time. I will not hold back. You face your doom.
Whoa! That was sick, dude! You rock so hard, Spidey!
Oh, I give up. Don't hit me again. Quentin Beck, I presume. Say cheese.
Good old Quentin Beck. So let's go around the table. What do you think of
Top
the movie?
notch.
Top
Top
notch.
notch.
Nailed
it.
I think it's the best Spider-Man
Nailed it.
movie.
I won't go that far, but they nailed the Mysterio character.
I like how they put in the sciences with him, where instead of him just being a special effects artist, he's the
They
guy.
changed it from the comic books just a little bit to tweak it so it fits in with
Yeah,
what's going on now.
he's the guy. It was Stark's $6 billion therapy session from Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
And Quentin Beck is the one that created it. It's really cool how this all ties together, because this is the end of Marvel Phase 3. It wasn't Endgame. It was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what do you think?
I want to point out there's one thing I really, really liked and one thing I really did not like. I'll do the one thing I loved first. I loved when Peter was on the airplane?
I need a suit.
Suit?
So the black and red suit, it's like wearing a work of art. It looks so realistic that it feels like you should be able to climb walls and you should be able to shoot webs. And the way that it's made is an homage to the godfather of the MCU. The world needs the next Iron Man.
When he went
And made a suit
and made his suit and he put his arm in almost like
like Iron Man did. in
like
the first
Iron
movie.
Man and
Yeah,
with
first
Tony
movie.
and just like putting in it was like not foreshadowing because that already happened. It was
But-
what's the technical word for it?
What?
Not foreshadowing because we already saw it.
Symbolicism.
I guess you would say.
It's symbolic of Tony, because he's the next Tony Stark.
Right, by him putting the arm in, and then what song did they play that they played in one of the Iron Man movies?
Back in Black.
I was like, yes!
Was it back in Black?
It was
It was
either that or
one
Shoot
of
the
those,
Thrill.
I just got all excited
Yeah, it was,
that
it
whole
was something
scene.
ACDC.
Yeah, it's always AC/DC when it comes to Tony Stark.
That whole scene was amazing, but the one thing I did not like how they had
Extremely hot Aunt May keeps getting in these movies.
that. No.
Why? That's a great thing.
She keeps getting younger.
Marissa told me. How'd she get younger? She's the same character.
In the Tobey Maguire movie, she's this old lady like in the comic books in the 90s cartoon. And then the Andrew Garfield one, she's a little bit younger. And then this one, she's like
Sally
super young.
But Peter was a different age in those movies. In the Tobey Maguire one, he's not a high schooler. He's, college age and working and not a high school student. And
That's how it should be.
Andrew Garfield, he was, because there's different series.
Universe.
So they're playing on different series.
Yeah.
You're just a
from
hater.
Into the Multiverse, Into the Spider-Verse, there's multiple Spider-Mans. Come on now.
You're just a hater.
But back to what I was saying, what I did not like is I did not like the Tony corpse coming out of the grave. That actually, honestly,
That was awesome. That was awesome.
That actually really bothered me. It creeped me out, and I know it's just a movie, and like Tony Stark's just a fictional character, but because of I don't care, I'll say it, I cried during Endgame, and that was upsetting. And when he came out with the helmet and he came out, that really kind of creeped me out like no other.
It was
Like not
scary
like a
thing.
scary thing, but almost like an emotional creep out thing that it was like.
That was-
I did not.
Ready
I was
Because
not
they're
ready
hinting
for
at
it.
Marvel Zombies, bro.
That'd be cool.
I felt like it was
They're
like
doing
one of
that.
my friends crawling out from the grave a couple months after they died. That's what freaked me out. I was like, ugh.
That was
Like,
that was during the illusion scene.
TMI, that's what it was.
That was during the illusion scene where he doesn't actually crawl in the grave. It's just an illusion.
Basically, Mysterio's trying to guilt him into thinking that Tony Stark's death was all his fault. He's not good enough to be the next Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have those glasses. No one really believes in him.
The nuclear football glasses.
That was
The nuclear football glasses.
Tony's glasses. That was
Do you know what
awesome.
nuclear football is?
No.
Nuclear football is a set of launch codes for nuclear missiles that they carry around. They call it nuclear football. They're just short.
Oh.
So if one of our enemies gets hold of the launch codes, then they can launch it.
This has so much to do with the movie.
It does.
He's saying
Learn
what the
what a
glasses
nuclear
reminded him
football
about.
is.
Amanda.
I love this movie so much. I also really liked Tom Holland. But, yeah, honey. And I like how him and Zendaya play off each other really well. They make a really good MJ without being like a cheesy MJ and Peter in Spider-Man couple. No offense to Tobey Maguire, but it was a little cheesy at times. So it was kind of nice, a little refreshing. Her snark is very refreshing, but I also found it hilarious with Happy and Aunt May. And
I love Spider-Man's aunt.
I think it's just a summer fling. I thought we were dating.
Yeah.
Oof.
There's so much good in this movie.
And then Nick Fury was
It's
in
so
it.
wholesome.
Nick Fury was in it. There's a lot of there's some stuff that happens after the movie that we might spoil a little bit later. Overall, though, before we go into any spoilers, overall rating.
Been this whole
I mean,
time.
there's
It's
not,
spoiler.
but these aren't the big spoilers though. The big spoiler hasn't come yet.
Why? What's the big spoiler?
We
The
can't
tub
say it.
yogurt in my fridge.
Yes.
That's a big spoil.
Overall, though, overall, what's your rating? Mine's 5 out of 5.
You freaking would.
5 out of 5.
I would say 5 out of 5.
Oh
That's
my
good.
god. 4 out of 5.
Okay, give me the 4 out of 5.
It's not Tobey Maguire.
Oh my God, you're such
I didn't
a
get
hater.
to see Uncle Ben die yet.
You don't have to see Uncle Ben die
Yes,
yet.
you do. It's
Why?
not Spider-Man unless you see him die.
No, he's tired of getting shot. Didn't you see it on Twitter?
Okay, it's 5
I wish there was more
I was just
dramatic
kidding,
of a
it's 5 out
kissing
of 5.
Spider-Man scene.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5.
Would you like the upside down kiss?
Yes!
5.
They even did it when I was watching the OC a couple weeks ago. They did the whole Spider-Man kiss scene. I was like, yes! Oh my...
What are you doing here?
What do you think, Colin?
Someday you will follow me, company the landslide, in a champagne supernova, a champagne supernova.
You're gonna do it in this! I was like, what the heck?
What did you not like about the movie, Brian?
What did I not like about the movie?
Yes.
Probably the only the special effects, even though they were pretty still on par, you could tell there was still that campy, almost cartoonish ways. But other than that, there was really nothing too bad about this movie that I didn't like. Nick Fury and Maria Hill were almost basically useless in this movie until you see what happens at the end.
Yeah.
This is the Ant-Man and Wasp of Infinity War, because you hit the Infinity War, big emotional, almost a stressful movie because you have no idea what's going on.
And then this kind of relieves you.
And then it's a relief because Ant-Man and Wasp was just a funny movie.
It's so good.
It's a nice, easy movie. This was the Endgame Ant-Man and Wasp because this was a hilarious movie. There's a lot of funny stuff in there. It hits every emotional aspect that it can. It makes you, like how it hit Jennifer with Tony Stark coming out of there.
I don't like death in general. Like, that really bothers me, so that's why I was like,
There's the love aspect between MJ and Peter. There's comical stuff everywhere in this movie.
For you, where?
There's stress in this movie when he gives him these glasses that Tony Stark left for it, and then there's also
the absent-minded teacher.
Somber with you see Tony, like when I say you see Tony Stark everywhere, there's murals of him. There's places that have been named Stark Tower, even though it's not Stark Tower.
In the classrooms, on the bulletin boards, there's all the drawings. I love that.
Everywhere. Nobody cares about Captain America.
I was like, come on.
Nobody cares about Thor. Nobody cares about Black Widow. Nobody even knows that Black Widow's dead.
They did it in the very low-grade student PowerPoint at the beginning.
They did. But it's like...
We know now that she said, thanks to you, Brian.
Well,
we already did an Endgame. We already did an Endgame spoiler. But,
the other reason, though, why Tony is so prevalent is that I can't find my word sale.
So present.
So present in this one is because of how much of a father figure he... Huh?
He's an omniscient figure in this movie.
I don't know.
Omnipotent?
He has such a big presence because he was like a father to Peter. He gave him the new suit, brought him over to the Avengers, all of that. So that's why it was, I think, carried so much into...
He's also the father of the MCU.
Yes.
That's why he was in here, and it is such a big death. But he is everywhere in this movie. There's murals of him in Italy. There's just... or Europe, whatever you want to call it. He's everywhere in this movie. There's so many different factors in this movie that make it almost the perfect Spider-Man movie because it hits so close to the comic books. There's a little bit of change. It's almost like the Ultimate Universe where there's differences, and then it hits its stride every time that it goes. And it's not,
yeah. What did you not like about the movie?
What I did not like?
Yes.
That's a good question. You know what? It's just because of a physical thing. A lot of the different scenes and so like that.
Yeah.
Physically, I just got almost like vertigo, but not.
It is shaky in there a lot.
There's a lot of flashing, a lot of the moving colors and some of it, and the illusion scenes is where I mainly had issues. So if you are light sensitive, this might not be the movie for you. I'm sorry.
The illusion scenes go crazy.
See it at home, in the safety of home. So yeah, that. Otherwise, like acting and storyline-wise, some parts went a little slow, but overall it was good. And overall, I loved it.
It didn't tank. So.
No.
Well, I was going to say what Marvel movies tank so far. That was made by the MCU.
Four.
That was made by the MCU.
Oh, no. You know what I didn't like about the movie? I didn't like how they're pushing Zendaya's character as MJ, even though it's not MJ. Stop pushing her on me. Zendaya. She's not MJ. She's not my MJ. She'll never be MJ.
It's the Ultimate Universe, man.
Because.
Why?
Because her name isn't Mary Jane.
It's
and
Michelle.
They keep putting it as,
it's
MJ. No, it's not. Don't do that. Because when you market a character in a Spider-Man movie and a Spider-Man universe as being MJ, it's supposed to be Mary Jane.
Well, I thought her name was Michelle.
Michelle. It is Michelle.
Oh.
Stupid.
Michelle, her middle initial is J.
Just their way to work it in.
MJ. It works.
Anything else?
Huh?
Anything else? Take it as no. Anything else? Anything else?
Good
My
movie.
only thing, I guess, is with Zendaya. I wish that she would do her character a little bit better. From when I've seen her in all of her other stuff, and then the way she acts in this, like, I'm not saying she's acting dumb, or I feel like she's not even acting. She's just kind of like, whatever, like
I
that
mean,
type
she's
of
I think
thing.
the character's supposed to
Which
be
I
like
think it
that.
is supposed to be that way. I just wish, like, I don't know, she would have done a little bit more with it than just
Yeah.
acting so dopey, like, I don't know. That's just me, I guess.
I will say that in the MCU, the MJ character is not my favorite. The main reason being just because that doesn't remind me of MJ. She's not a bad character though. She's really not. But it doesn't remind me of MJ. I see where you're coming from with it because
Yeah.
you want that bombshell.
Yes.
But she's a teenager. She doesn't need to be
Yeah.
a bombshell.
No, not
she's
like-
underage.
Well, no, not like that.
Not like that. Like the bombshell of that character being in it.
Yeah, but also classic MJ is
Fiery
kind of
redhead.
a damsel in distress, weakling kind of thing, and she actually, in MCU, she's got a little bit more of a presence and a little bit more smarts, and she. No offense, like Tobey Maguire's MJ was
Kirsten Dunst.
a bimbo. Kirsten Dunst was a little bit of a ditz.
And with that, we're out.
See you guys.
But
Say?
remember, Spider-Man.
I want pictures of Spider-Man.
I don't want nudes, I want pictures of Spider-Man.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys.
Bye.